Thank you for coming to the virtual Micah Awards ceremony as we celebrate 12 honorees from 11 different congregations at this very special event. I'm the Reverend Joel Huntington, the interim president of BIO at the current time, and just want to say thank you for participating and being present at this unique event and this wonderful celebration. Micah is inspired by the prophet Micah, who said, "Seek justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God." And we are going to honor folks who have done just exactly that. And this is the 5th time that we've done this, and this is the first time we've done it in a virtual setting, and it is such a beautiful thing to have you be part of this and to honor these wonderful souls in this very difficult COVID pandemic time in this very creative way. So thank you for coming, and on with the show.
To act with justice, to love with tenderness, and to walk humbly with our God. This is all that's asked of us. The Lord is my life and my salvation. Of whom should I be afraid? To act with justice, to love with tenderness, and to walk humbly with our God. This is all that's asked of us. I do not fear the one who has redeemed me. God has called me by name. To act with justice, to love with tenderness, and to walk humbly with our God. This is all that's asked of us. The friendship of my God is ever with me. In God I place my trust. To act with justice, to love with tenderness, and to walk humbly with our God. This is all that's asked of us.
So today, at our Micah virtual event, we're honoring these wonderful honorees, but underlying that, the purpose of this event is to raise funds for the work of BIO, Berkshire Interfaith Organizing, so that we can continue to do the work of justice and loving kindness and walking humbly in our county. And so during this event, you'll hear some appeals, some requests for funds, and that is a crucial part of this effort to fund what we're trying to do. And to highlight that, we will be talking about two of the issue areas that we're working on currently: the Wheels for Wellness, a transportation system throughout the county to help people get to doctor's appointments and others, for folks who can't make use of public transportation because the public transportation system is so thin here. And the other issue area is immigrant justice and the relationships we're building with the wider immigrant community, a growing population in our county of wonderful souls who offer so much but are often so hidden in this county. And BIO is in the forefront of reaching out, connecting, building relationships, and finding ways to help support and encourage our immigrant community. And these are two efforts we're making that will be supported by the funds that you offer. And the wider work of BIO, which is highlighted by these honorees, is that these honorees are like fingers, if you will. They represent really faithful service and efforts in each of our 11 congregations that we're honoring today. This is the soil out of which BIO grows, the service and faithfulness of so many. And something happens when you can weave all of that energy, all of that care, all of that compassion, all that justice seeking together. And when you start weaving it together, it builds power, it builds energy, so that we can accomplish more than you can do in your own single congregation or as a single good-hearted human being. We need to work together to accomplish larger things because the problems facing us are very large and very big and very intractable, but they're not entirely intractable if we work together and create a solid network. And that is the work of Berkshire Interfaith Organizing, to organize that network so that something good in the Berkshires can grow. And you're going to see some of what's growing already as we celebrate these honorees today.
When John Tarrant retired as Bishop of South Dakota, he moved with his wife Pat and daughter Jessica to the Berkshires, where he had previously served as rector of St. Paul's Church in Stockbridge. In September 2019, he accepted a call to be interim rector of St. Stephen's in Pittsfield. It was a remarkably good fit. John's sense of vocation was profound. He was with us personally in times of sickness and death, as well as in joy. He worked closely with those of us who were connected with BIO, and when BIO was seeking a parish that could house an immigrant in danger of deportation, John joined in our training planning sessions. COVID put an end to our sanctuary ambitions, but we remember with gratitude John's support for our efforts. It's fitting to celebrate John's life at a Micah event, as he was an exemplar of one who sought justice and practiced cultural humility. He was a champion of the Lakota people in South Dakota and was a witness at Standing Rock. He never intended to be a bishop, but when a group of Lakota elders asked to put his name in for consideration, he deferred to their wishes. As bishop, he traveled hundreds of miles to minister to Native Americans and rural Americans whose churches were sometimes so poor that indoor plumbing was considered a rare luxury. When the University of the South offered John an honorary doctorate, he demurred. He just couldn't see the point of that. John was at St. Stephen's for just a year, but our people and our mission are indelibly marked by his presence among us. Mabel Amos Hamilton wrote, "When Martin Luther King died, it spoke to my spirit that I needed to make a difference. And what a difference Mabel made in so many lives, some of whom she would never know. These include the children who continue to benefit from Head Start and Follow Through. Mabel testified before the U.S. Congress as the Parent Advisory Chairperson with Head Start and served as the Parent Coordinator at Follow Through. When Mabel moved to Pittsfield from North Adams, she began her lifelong career as a community advocate with a focus on childhood education and social work. Her employment included Berkshire Training and Employment, Berkshire Farm Services for Youth, and the Department of Social Services. During her 50 years as a faithful member of AME Zion Church, she was known for her God-given gift of singing, which extended beyond Pittsfield to conferences throughout the AME Zion Church. In addition to her membership in the choir, Mabel's leadership positions at Price Memorial included delegate, trustee, Christian Education Director, Sunday School Superintendent, Deaconess, and Director of Christian Outreach Services. Those who knew Mabel recall her positive attitude, how to continue a closer walk with God. In life and in death, Mabel Hamilton is remembered as one who sought justice, loved with kindness, and walked humbly with God day by day. How appropriate that we remember Myrna at this Micah celebration. She lived Micah's words to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Myrna's posture was one of loving mercy and justice, loving the relationships and the community building. With relationship building key to Bayo's work, Myrna listened deeply to people's stories, which allowed the seeds of justice to sprout and be nurtured, thus allowing justice to become real. Myrna's leadership took the shape of being Bayo's secretary for its first 5 years, taking meticulous notes while weaving in ideas informed by her wisdom and intellect. Many photos in Bayo archives show Myrna in conversation with someone. She did not make big pronouncements, march in the street, but rather provided the fertile soil for Bayo to work. Hospitality was core to Myrna's way. She often hosted officers' meetings in her wonderful apartment, providing lunch and snacks. Together with Rabbi David, she made Knesset Israel the go-to place for so many Bayo events, large and small. Each task was accomplished efficiently without sacrificing relationships. Her heart, soul, warmth, intellect, and creativity were woven humbly with justice. Community was her defining lens. While walking to and from work and around town, Myrna developed the habit of greeting everyone she passed with a wide smile and a "have a great day." After encountering her several times, strangers brightened and greeted her as well. She was a relationship builder, quietly empowering those around her to use their voices to amplify the themes of relational work and justice, all key to Bayo's mission. A man of deep faith and courage, Ramiro Guerrero coordinated the Latino ministries of the Berkshires in Pittsfield and Great Barrington through the Roman Catholic Diocese of Springfield. Known for his compassion, generosity, kindness, love, and service, Ramiro touched hundreds of lives. A native of Nicaragua, he's remembered in the Berkshires for finding priests who could celebrate Mass in Spanish, resulting in mass attendance by those speaking Spanish increasing from a few to dozens. They had arrived in the Berkshires from Colombia, Ecuador, Guatemala, Mexico, Peru, and other Spanish-speaking countries. He was there when Spanish people wanted to marry, have their children baptized, needed help to plan funerals, as well as organize festivals honoring the Blessed Mother. New arrivals in Pittsfield who needed clothing, furniture, or just information found whatever help they needed in Ramiro. Before arriving in Pittsfield, Ramiro had been a counselor of young people at a Job Corps training center in Tucson, a counselor with the Human Services Agency in Springfield, and at Holyoke and Hartford community colleges. He and his wife hosted foreign students and an immigrant family from El Salvador. Ramiro was a community organizer, a problem solver, a lifelong fighter for justice, and a source of help and support for the downtrodden, all with sincere humility and quiet diplomacy when needed. As a recipient of the 2019 Micah Award, he's remembered as one who acts justly, loves mercy, and always, without any doubt, walks humbly with his God.
My name is Mary Renz, and I am a member of the Church Council for South Church, and I'm also a member of the Pucci Committee, which is Pittsfield UCC, and I'm in charge of the St. Joseph's Kitchen dinners, and my husband and I cook twice a month for 100 or 110, but now we're doing takeout dinners, and it's usually for about 45 to 50 people. We've been members of this church since 1978, and I'm on the Thanksgiving Angels Committee. I am on the Church Council. I make sure that there are people cooking every week. That benefits the hungry and homeless people in our community, and so does the food pantry. We're serving over 500 families every week, and I think 278 deliveries to homes. Thanksgiving Angels is 21 faith communities and organizations in this city who have come together, and I think this is the 10th year, to give out turkeys and all the fixings for people to have a Thanksgiving dinner in their own home.
So I'm the Reverend Joel Huntington, and I'm the pastor here at South Congregational Church. I've been here for 32 years, and Mary Renz has been part of the congregation for that whole time, and longer than I've been here. And whether she's been moderator, which is the lay leader of the congregation, or an instigator in the kitchen, cooking every other week with her husband Pete for many, many years, the Thanksgiving Angels projects, buying supplies, the women's groups, quilting, doing all our imaging for the church, logos and banners for the Sunday school, all of that Mary just does with this heartfelt compassion and care that just over and over again just takes my breath away.
Please welcome Mary Renz.
My name is Sister Natalie Kane, and I do many things. I work within my congregation in vocation ministry, which is connecting with people in various ways, knowing that everybody has their vocation. I went to St. Mark's in Pittsfield, and while I was there, my work was to go out and meet the people. And in 3 years there, I was in over 500 homes talking with people. And one of the primary needs that was rising was hunger and where people could have meals. That was a very important period for my life, both in my own ministry with people in St. Mark's, but also getting to know the broader and participating in the beginnings of St. Joseph's Kitchen with so many people. That began the beginning of the seeds of my coming connected with Bio, to develop programs for them and get to know what the longing that people had to see their connections. And one of the most powerful things that happened during that time is I developed a course on listening. And I said, would you ever like to be part of a women's group that could meet together at my house and we could just share our lives and grow together? And they all said yes. And so it began that I had in my little apartment in North Adams, at that time I had moved up to North Adams, and they began to gather. And they were from Williamstown, and they were from Adams, and they were from North Adams. And we found that there was an amazing thing that happened when we provided space to listen to one another and grow to one another. And so out of that, over time, we continued it and more people joined. And it seemed like from the grassroots, we had the opportunity to have a place to meet. I became part of what came to be known as Northern Berkshire Neighbors. And that started from seed too. It was a seed and it was a connection. And it was wonderful work because that brought me into neighborhoods. And so I was part of that for quite a long time. I worked for 25 years or close to that with the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. And during that time, I continued to gather women in my house. So we became what was known as the Women's House of Peace. And those people came from all the sectors of the Berkshires and it just continued to grow because people came and shared their lives through writing, through organizing, through peace walk. When I'm able to help people, I find that a piece of them becomes a part of me. And during this period, not only me, but I think the world is more focused on being a we. And being a we takes time. And so if I'm able to help someone, whether it's with a smile or whether it's with something more, and we're engaging together, I'm becoming part of a we, so I change.
Please welcome Natalie Kane, SSJ.
Wow, what a wonderful event this is. So inspiring to hear these wonderful leaders in our midst. I'm Father Nathaniel Anderson, the rector of St. John's Parish in Williamstown, and it's wonderful to be with you virtually this year for this Micah celebration. The verse that this evening is based upon, Micah chapter 6, is so inspiring to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with our God. And when I think of humility, I think of simplicity, and that adage attributed to Saint Seton and also to Gandhi, that we are to live simply so that others might simply live. And I think of that often when I think about how we live and our standard of living and what we have come to expect and what we determine is enough. I remember in particular the time my wife and I bought our first house and we completely gutted the kitchen. And we spent a whole summer installing cabinets, flooring, painting, making it into a beautiful place to make our meals and to spend time together. But what ended up happening was a whole summer of washing our dishes in the bathtub, which was not so fun. Being hunched over, scrubbing pans and other dishes got old pretty fast. And pretty soon we had our brand new kitchen, complete with a dishwasher that we could load up, press start, and they were miraculously clean. Yet the second time we used that dishwasher, as I opened it up, I groaned and said, "Oh, I hate emptying the dishwasher." 2 times it took for me to go from just complete excitement and gratitude over having this miracle box that washed my dishes to lamenting that I had a task to do, forgetting those many, many weeks washing dishes in the bathtub. It's amazing to me how quickly we become accustomed to our standard of living and take for granted all that we have. And as we look around ourselves in Berkshire County, we recognize there are so many of our neighbors that have so little, so many who put up with things that no person should reasonably be expected to put up with. And that's why I give thanks to God for the work of Bio that is working tirelessly to ensure that all of our neighbors might know the goodness, love, and provision of God, that they might have enough. These areas of racial justice, immigrant justice, transportation, these places and people that so desperately need to know the love and mercy of God. What a gift that we have Bio working to work with simplicity and humility and compassion so that all might know God's abundance and provision. And so I want to encourage you, after hearing these wonderful witnesses of these leaders in our midst, to consider making a gift to Bio at this time to further this important work. And in so doing, I hope you will not make this gift out of your excess or a token amount that you won't really miss. I hope you'll consider doing something that will eat in a little bit to your luxury, will eat in a little bit to the standard you've come to know, recognizing that if we were all to live a little more simply, if we went without just a bit and give to something like Bio and its important work, think about the powerful work that could be done. Think about the simplicity, the provision, the justice that could be done in our communities. You can click the button on your screen or visit the Bio website and click the Micah link. Thank you for considering making a gift so that all might know enough in our communities. Thank you.
The first session passed, and the second session was next week, and we never got our second session because the world shut down in March of 2020. So our interim rector said, hey, either you can help or I know you know someone who can. What are we gonna do to make church happen this week? We would come midweek and pre-record all the elements needed, and they were stitched together and made available in various forms over the following what seemed to be a year and a half. So there was a lot to overcome, and I think over time the way it evolved is we all became more comfortable, and we really did forget that this was on camera. And the moment took on, it sort of was a sanctified moment, it felt like, to come in here and put a camera up. And for us, this was church. So I felt, in the beginning, it was a lot of work, and it was a real steep learning curve for me. But once I overcame that, I too began to enjoy worship in a very different way. And there would be a lot of instances where somebody would hiccup or sneeze or something would happen that we would have to stop. And then we would go back and start up. Let's start back up at that last paragraph. And so it's all of that editing really made me hear these words in ways where sometimes they would flip by once in real life, and you don't have time to go back and say, hey, you know, what's that even mean? I'm gonna look that word up. Or it just was an experience like I couldn't have anticipated until I found myself in it. But I became the more visible, easy to see the physical person who they thought was responsible. And you know, I'm just holding a camera. All these other people are on the other side of it making church happen. So it was a team, and we were grateful to have many of the other participants that we did have. This was a very interesting time for all of us to live on this earth. And I was grateful to have this support system of people in my life. I've proved useful in a number of ways, and I just feel that's one thing I feel is useful and appreciated.
Please welcome Chris Planky.
Saw an ad in the paper for a church superintendent and said, well, now I can get paid to go to church. And did that.
And I met Mr. Fife right here at this church.
And one day while she's washing dishes, said, hey, how would you like to go to a contra dance? She had this smile about her that caught my eye, still does. What is nice about contra dance is you go, you dance with someone, and then you have to switch partners. And it gives you a chance to meet a lot of people, to dance a lot, and halfway through the dance program, they do a waltz. So I made sure I had my waltz partner with me. And what we ended up doing, it was probably cheating, but we would do a contra dance, and then we'd get a different partner, then we'd get together again on the next one. So we did what they said, find a different partner. And the rest is history, as Judy said. I'm part of the veterans group of the church, and the flags that are on Park Square as I'm speaking is a program that we've sponsored, the veterans of this church. We've set up the empty seat at the table. We've been in the Josh Billings race as canoers and appreciate the beauty of the Housatonic River. Pulling out tires and bikes, whatever was in the river, we ended up pulling them out. We were in Ecuador for 2 weeks, and Judy, being a registered nurse, was in the operating room, and they didn't have the laser machines for doing the cataract.
Right.
But the doctor had the directions right over the light, and Judy, being a registered nurse, was able to jump right in and do that.
Yes.
Meanwhile, I was giving eye exams with very little Spanish, a lot of sí, no, yeah. So that was fun, and we would find glasses for them. Presently, we're singing at 4 nursing homes in Berkshire County. It was 5, but then this COVID kicked in, and it's been a little tricky in nursing homes, but we still do that. Happy trails
To you until we meet again.
Why do you like that song?
Had a Girl Scout troop for quite a while, and they liked that song a lot, yes. And we did do some traveling with them. My friend and I, we went down to Washington, D.C., and had a great time down there. And they loved that song. Yeah. We like it here very, very much. It has been very good for us, yes.
Please welcome Don and Judy Fife.
Part of our Micah celebration, this wonderful virtual celebration that we're doing today, and celebrating the honorees that have been coming across the stage, and also asking for support for BIO's work, the fundraising component of this event. You might be asking yourself, well, what exactly does BIO do and how does BIO work? I have a partner here to talk about some of the, what we call the issue groups of BIO, and immigrant justice is one of the important ones. And Tora Huntington, who has the same last name as I do, is with us because she's been very active in the sanctuary work that we did a few years ago with BIO, trying to protect immigrants from ICE, from the immigrant services that the administration sent out to round people up, and doing accompaniment work to take people to ICE appointments and make sure they were safe and all that. We started there, and then that's evolved. But I want to hear Tora's take on this because I'm imagining people listening, viewing this today, wondering, well, if I was part of BIO, what would that be like? And so, Tora, I want to just ask you, what got you involved in this whole immigrant effort that we've been doing?
It started with the sanctuary movement, or the sanctuary team, I guess is what we called it. Which was back following the 2016 election, and was a pretty scary time for the immigrant community in the county, and was
kind of a scary time for all of us.
An upsetting time, yes, for lots of us. So it got started with sanctuary, and there was a lot of hard work going on with that.
Yes.
So when COVID came, along with the rest of the world, everything shut down. And then the 2020 election came, and the need for sanctuary really disappeared.
Yeah, just receded for now, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
ICE was not being active in
Berkshire County.
Yeah. And so that was like a releasing of burden, really, a lot. But the team that had been working on sanctuary it wasn't like everything in immigrants' life in Berkshire County was suddenly wonderful.
And how would you discern what the needs of the immigrant community were?
So a group of Latinas that met over Zoom on Friday nights called Cafecito. And so a few of us from the immigrant justice team started participating in that. We discerned that the problems with translation in the schools was the most pressing one. And the campaign led to meeting with administration in the Pittsfield Public Schools. And the conclusion of that was that they added a staff position on paper at any rate.
Which is very much the model of organizing. It starts with relationship building, not just talking amongst yourselves as kindly folks, but reaching out and connecting with people in need. And then from those relationships, issues develop, concerns develop, that mutually, by coming together, you build energy, you build power, that then you can, in this case, go talk to some people. And then what happened?
A staff position created to provide translation services.
Yes.
For the parents was what the need was. They have, they provide the services in the schools for the children for the most part. But it was all of the communications between teachers and parents and report cards coming home. But when is school going to start? Or is there a surprise day off coming up that you need to know about? Or how do you sign up for school buses? And those sorts of things that just a lot in the community were missing out on.
And so again, part of organizing, you might imagine you're trying to affect change in society, so you're going to do some giant thing to change the system. And in a way real organizing works is the way you change the system is by often little small things, like helping families know when the school's going to have a day off, or when some special event is going to happen, because they don't know those things. And those things added together lead to organizing. And so one of the issues that's ongoing, I think if I understand right, is they haven't filled that position yet, right?
So we were struggling with all of that, and then you and I happened upon a member of the Latina community. In fact, one of the founders of Latinas 413.
One of the dynamic ones,
right? And that was America Lopez. And she also had been a bio intern working with Wendy before Dawn Day. So she understood the world of organizing and what the possibilities are there. And she also knows the Latinx community, and has easy contact there. So we invited her to join our team, and she actually came and joined us at our meeting this week. She also gave us a couple other names with Latinas 413, and we are extending an invitation there as well. We're really doing one step, and then where are we now? And listen and look and talk to each other and try to build the relationships, figure out what we can do to make ourselves more inviting, more accessible, more open, more real. Let the relationship really be a real relationship. And as we're doing that, then we're also listening for where the need feels, where they experience the greatest need.
And doing all this without an organizer at the moment.
Yes.
Which is one reason we're doing Micah as a fundraising project, because this is how we could raise the funds to hire a new organizer who could work with the immigrant justice team and help push it along.
That's right.
And I just want to throw in, the Micah celebration based on the prophet Micah, seeking justice, loving kindness, walking humbly. The word justice in the Bible means right relationship, things in balance, things that are whole. And our society is not whole, is not in balance. And this walking in the dark, trying to find a way, is trying to mend and heal and make things more whole. And you wish it would be a whole lot easier, but it's not. But that's why we need things like bio and need support to make bio work. Thank you for your good, persistent work. And I know how persistent it is because I'm married to you.
I have been so impressed with this little tiny team. There's 6 of us that meet. Three Barbs and 3 others. and we just, everyone keeps saying, yes, we will meet again. Yes, we will meet again. I will do this between now and then. Everyone keeps saying yes and keeps coming back. And it's been sluggish and thick going. And then someone like America shows up. Someone like Carmen shows up. And our energy level goes shooting up. and then it is down in the mud again, and that's what Martha tells us is what organizing is all about.
That's right.
So.
My name is Alice Rose. I'm coordinator for our harvest table meal and our food pantry. I organize them and see that they're running as smoothly as we can. We have plenty of volunteers in the kitchen. Donna's excellent. What we do without her. A lot of people in back of me are following me around and help me do what I do. Once upon a time in April 1939, my mom became a mother of her first daughter. And I've been following her ever since. I picked this all up from her. She was my hero. This is my love. This is what keeps me going. We do Cathedral of the Beloved. No matter what the weather, we were there serving a hot meal for everybody who needed it. We'd get there just in time for the opening prayer.
Let us pray.
And then they're waiting for us. We set up on the table stuff. We have our foods. Then they take what they want, which always have more to take home with them. It's hard to describe, but we're out there where they are. We enjoy meeting them and laughing with them, crying with them. We just talk to them and feed them. And the second Sunday of every month, our church does it. And the other weeks, other organizations do it. For the months, we serve pretty close to 2,000 people. I don't do too much in the kitchen now. I just make sure the food is there when they need it. And if they go in, if they have an abundance to do, then I go in and help. But we come to know each other very well. We like to work together, laugh together, dance together. We do a lot of dancing here.
She shows up here Sunday after Sunday, month after month with First Methodist to remind the people of this community that they are worthy of love. And her presence communicates that. Her hands do that work as she prepares the food. And it takes all of us to embody and proclaim that message. And so today we're glad to honor Alice for her part in that work.
It's so hard to talk into words, my feelings and what I do, so it's just me.
Please welcome Alice Rose.
As we continue our celebration of our honorees at this virtual Micah event, I have a guest with me, Jim Colasar, who can help us understand a little better what does bio actually do and how does bio actually work. And Jim has been part of our public transportation team for a good long while that has led to some really creative ideas and solutions that I want to hear about. So Jim.
Sure, I love talking about this. It's one of our prime projects, and it's called Wheels for Wellness. Transportation has long been a challenge and known to be a challenge in Berkshire County. And when we did our listening campaigns, it came up over and over again that people can't get to where they need for lots of different opportunities. And so we reached out to partners thinking we couldn't solve the whole transportation problem, but maybe we could solve it when it came to people's health appointments and other social determinants of health. And everyone that reached out to said they wanted to partner with us on that. And that includes Berkshire Health Systems and Community Health Partners and Fallon Health and Berkshire Community Action Council, and then finally, in some ways most importantly, RSVP, the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, which is running this program on a day-to-day basis now.
And what is this program?
Well, as of June 1st, we had a soft opening because of the COVID. This is a free ride for people to health-related appointments. Done by volunteer drivers, including me and my wife, which I can talk about. And so it's great for them. These are people who either wouldn't be able to get to these appointments at all with great damage to their own health, or they could get there, but it would cost them an arm and a leg, not good for their health either. Or they were going to have a family member, take off work yet another time that month to do it. So we're getting people to appointments that they wouldn't get to otherwise, or would have to really strain themselves to get there. And these are people who are so grateful for this. One of the benefits of being a driver is they can't believe that it's like too good to be true for them. And as a driver, I can say I've loved doing it. I've met a lot of people, really interesting stories they have. As I say, Wheels for Wellness is connected me with people I otherwise wouldn't have met and sent me down roads I never would have traveled. Nooks and crannies of Berkshire County that, having lived here for decades, I'd never really been on. There have been hundreds of these rides, round-trip rides to health appointments.
All over the county,
All
right?
over the county, and weekdays, 9 to 5. And, but we could certainly, there's way more capacity than we can meet right now, and what we need are more drivers for that. So anyone considering to be a driver, even if you're considering being a rider, there's a website you can go to that will show up on the screen here, I believe, and a phone number you can call, and you can sign up to do either one of those things. And I can't recommend it more. It's knitting our community together by making connections between riders and drivers. It's getting to people to appointments that they as absolutely important to their own physical health and mental health.
So if people who are participating in this event would like to be a driver,
you go to that website or call that phone number that's on the screen.
And are there any qualifications, or just a licensed driver?
I say you have to be a licensed driver, you have to be able to fog a mirror and to pass a Corey check. If you can do that, you qualify.
And so this is an example of people coming together, a small group starting with Berkshire Interfaith organizing, but then looking for partners, weaving things together, and then surprising things happening.
Yeah, it's a project that everyone kept saying yes to, and it's happening. And the people at RSVP in particular deserve a lot of credit, because this is a whole new big thing to go into their operation, and they're adapting to it really well.
And that's part of BIO as well, is it looking for partners and creating change, creating new programs, but BIO then moves on to create other possibilities, and so RSVP is running the program as such.
We didn't have to set up yet another nonprofit in Berkshire County. They were there doing similar things, trying to help people to find satisfying volunteer activities. You may have in your head that to be a driver that you need to be between a certain age and another age. That was true until now, and those age restrictions have been taken away. So anyone
anybody
with a driver's license and a car can do it.
Boy, thank you, Jim. Such good work.
Yeah, well, it's a satisfying thing to be part of.
Yes, and it's some of the work of creating justice in our community, of right relationship, things in balance, where people can literally find health.
Yeah.
And then you discover new relationships through lines of difference, as you said, in nooks and crannies all over the Berkshires.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Cool. Thank you. The reason we're doing this fundraising at this time is in order to have the capacity to do the work of justice here in central Berkshire County, the wider county. And to highlight that, we will be talking about two of the issue areas that we're working on currently: the Wheels for Wellness, a transportation system throughout the county to help people get to doctor's appointments and others, for folks who can't make use of public transportation because the public transportation system is so thin here. And the other issue area is immigrant justice and the relationships we're building with the wider immigrant community, a growing population in our county of wonderful souls who offer so much but are often so hidden in this county. And BIO is in the forefront of reaching out, connecting, building relationships, and finding ways to help support and encourage our immigrant community. And these are two efforts we're making that will be supported by the funds that you offer. And the wider work of BIO, which is highlighted by these honorees, is that these honorees are like fingers, if you will. They represent really faithful service and efforts in each of our 11 congregations that we're honoring today. But what we want, this is the soil out of which BIO grows, the service and faithfulness of so many. And something happens when you can weave all of that energy, all of that care, all of that compassion, all that justice seeking together. And when you start weaving it together, it builds power, it builds energy, so that we can accomplish more than you can do in your own single congregation or as a single good-hearted human being. We need to work together to accomplish larger things, because the problems facing us are very large and very big and very intractable, but they're not entirely intractable if we work together and create a solid network. And that is the work of Berkshire Interfaith Organizing, to organize that network so that something good in the Berkshires can grow. And you're going to see some of what's growing already as we celebrate these honorees today.
My name is Ann O'Connor, and I serve as the Director of Family Engagement for the First Congregational Church of Williamstown. I started calling it Kids Time because I wasn't especially comfortable with this whole sort of Sunday school concept, and nobody seemed to be expecting that. This job is really working with youth and families, and I enjoy working with kids. I don't necessarily think of myself as a natural kid person, but kids are actually awesome, and they're really self-sufficient. It's, if you give them space, they can have fun. So I like collaborating with them on how to learn, how to have fun. Through the pandemic, I've been the Sunday morning Zoom host. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody was going to be able to get logged in. How does it work? And it's intimidating to work with a whole new software platform. I spent a lot of time just getting everybody comfortable with the format, and that paid off in attendance, because it really, once people discovered they could work it, they were eager to come to the worship services. I looked to bring our youth programming outdoors and into nature. And I had been preparing, just before the pandemic hit, I had been preparing a program we were going to call Forest Sunday School, where the Sunday school sessions wouldn't involve being at the church service at all, but we would meet prior to the start of the service. The kids could get dropped off, and we would have 2 hours to do something out in nature, explore. I've been thinking about how to get people together, because that's really a big part of the way I see my work. What I particularly liked about Service Learning Club was its focus on, I had talked about I like getting kids out in nature, but this was taking them to different local organizations that are doing service-type work. So we visited the homeless shelter, we visited the food pantry, we visited the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition offices. Sort of encouraging them to think more in terms of a circular economy, not, that throwing something out doesn't mean it disappears. So maybe things can be reused. I guess that, going back to the passions, this sort of environmentalism, I would say, is also a passion.
Please welcome Ann O'Connor.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren Lefecque, and I have been involved in Berkshire Interfaith organizing since 2015 as the original founding president. And I'm excited to be here. I'm hoping that you are all excited to be part of this production also. We listen to stories from people from Sheffield to Williamstown and everywhere in between in the Berkshires, and we find out what their social justice concerns are. Right now, the things that we're working on are immigration justice as well as transportation. And those have been successful. We've been working on lots of things. We have trained over 75 people to accompany our undocumented immigrant neighbors. And they do this by providing silent witness as well as the actual transportation to the ICE check-in. And this has proved to be very successful, and we have not had any issues with people being detained. So that's one good news. Another thing we do is we've been working on our transportation, and we are helping through both private and public transportation to get people to doctor's appointments, work. Also, if there's grocery issues, we get them there, whatever is needed to help our neighbors in our communities. And so one of the things that I'm here for is I'm actually here to ask you for donations. And to do that, you can go to our website or our mailing address, which is provided here. You can also share this with your friends, family, neighbors, anybody who would like to be part of this organization and maybe don't have the time to just donate treasure. Certainly the treasures are very important, but we also want to make sure that you know that you're welcome, no matter what faith you are, to volunteer for one of our teams, to maybe become part of the leadership. And also we want you to just understand you can come in and find out what we're all about and see if that's something that you're interested. Again, we're asking for donations. You can certainly do that easily. We take PayPal and credit and debit cards, and also checks if you want to send it to the mailing address. And with that, thank you so much, and please pass this video along so that more people will know about BIO.
I'm Barbara Mahoney. Presently, I'm sort of in charge of hospitality in this church. I've been here at the church for 24 years. I went to this church and my husband walked a couple blocks to St. Mary's Church because we had an interfaith marriage. I also became one of the tour guides for this church. So if you ask me a question, probably will know a little bit about the church too. Yeah, it's a very unique church because of the trompe-l'oeil. Trompe-l'oeil is fool's eye. You think it's three-dimensional and it's not. So when you first walk in the church, you think, oh, three-dimensional. And then you find out, no, it's not. This was done when the previous church here burned down, and they rebuilt and bought a new church in 1857. And there was a group of itinerant French and German artists traveling around, and that's how we ended up having this. Yeah, 1857, that was done. I was in charge of, it would have been 2012. We started a discussion about whether to become an open and affirming church. And it took us 9 months. And we had small group meetings, we had films. And actually the National Massachusetts United Church of Christ sent out a wonderful, huge notebook with ideas and information, so it was really helpful. But anyhow, I chaired that work, whole open and affirming. And then we took a vote in 2013, and actually in November, and we was the majority. So that was really an exciting time. Open and affirming means that we welcome members of all those different kinds of sexualities and different genders and all that kind of information that people really were not, didn't have knowledge of in most cases. Well, it was very good because when we had the discussion groups, small groups, turned out that there were members of this church who had brothers or sisters, but they had never talked about it openly, and that gave them a sense of being positive too, that they could now talk about that in this church. And I'm not sure of the date anymore, but because I went to that, we had in the sanctuary here we had a gay marriage, and one of the members of our church was gay, and then his partner, and so that was exciting too, to have that happen here. And that all occurred after we became open and affirming too. So.
Please welcome Barbara Mahoney.
My name is Kim Rivers, and I am the president of the Board of Trustees for the Unitarian Universalist Church of Pittsfield. There are days where I come in and I accomplish a lot and I talk to a lot of people and I can sort of rally a lot of things and I go, yay, I did it. And then there are days I look at my particular list, which could encompass all the different roles that I have assumed, and I think, I'm never going to get any of this done today. But that's where the focus comes in. It's like, well, what can I do right now? What is the most important? What's the priority? And then what can I just simply focus on? And it really is one thing at a time. Multitasking to me is just a myth. It doesn't really work. So one thing at a time, do it the best you can, and then move on to the next. One of the most challenging things that I have done as president this time around is dealing with the real shift and change that the COVID pandemic created for our building, because suddenly everything shut down and we had to figure out how to stay connected with our congregants and friends and even other groups, because our building is such a large multi-use building. A lot of social justice groups use it. We have a lot of renters. We have therapists who use our space. And so when everything shut down, all of that disappeared for a little while. I went to my board and I said, if we're going to continue to use this place the way we want to, we've got to upgrade. A member donated a brand new refrigerator because the old one did go out. Now we have all this beautiful, new equipment that you turn it on and it goes to temperature and it works the way it's supposed to. For me, the excitement is whatever I can do, however small it is or how grand it is, just do it and show up and be excited, and also be willing to say, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Let's see what happens. And some days it's like, I'm not doing anything today other than playing outside, and that has its own benefit. It's really about the balance of doing and then also having downtime, not doing. You've got to do things in balance.
Please welcome Kim Rivers.
My name is Maria Silvia. I'm from Colombia. I'm very happy. I always my service for the church and my family. Father Chris is the pastor here and very special with me. The Comunidad Latinos is working hard for the first church for Latinos. My classes in Springfield with the Diacono Pedro Rivera last year, and this year is for Zoom because problem for COVID. Introduced me for the first communion es alone chayos latinos and español, solo español. The Father Jansa Latino told me, Maria, please, all chayos is very good for English. I need everybody this class alone for español. I feel good because the student is very respect, very concentration for learning God. And the moment the student always says the pure for the say God is all for me. One child one day is read one book, said, oh, Maria, God had a mother, and the mother, I had a mother, but the same mother with me, Maria. Oh my God, one child is wonderful. Always is very special and studying very good. Everybody is calling me, Maria, I need this, I need this. You with me at the contact with the child, the students. I pray a lot. And they pray a lot and help for everybody. And today, for the first moment, they give the book, new book for the student is the emotion, because the book smells good, and the beautiful book for a student every moment, the whole life, the God and the Virgin and the baby Jesus is very good for first reconciliation. Today is this book. Maybe 2 months is for the first communion, the other book. It's a big surprise for me, because no person I say, why for me? I like simple. And surprised when the Father Chris called me and said the one letter, oh my God, no, I know, it's Maria, no, it's no, it's yes, it's yes. When I write my biography, oh my God, it's nervous, it's good.
Please welcome Maria Silvia.
I'm Mary King, and I have been involved in a lot of activities through the church, and I've found them really important in my life. My husband and I moved to southern Vermont in 2009, and we were looking for churches, and we started attending here in 2010. When we moved here, both of us became members of the choir. That has been one of the joys of my life, is singing. As part of BIO, I got involved in the immigrant ministry that BIO does, became one of the people who did accompaniment with immigrants who had to go for ICE checkups in Hartford. And then I was also on the sanctuary team, the Berkshire Sanctuary Network. This is such a wonderful place. I know so many people here, and there's the choir, there are the book groups that I've been in, and then my other friends who go here, we still get together. It really feels like a big part of my life. There had been a number of people who were interested in having some type of place, either a memorial garden or a columbarium for people who had died. And so we looked around. There isn't much land here, so there wasn't really room for a garden. And so then we looked inside the church. An architect came and said, hey, we can put the columbarium behind these gates and make it a solid gate instead of one with slats. So he was able to design this so that it fit perfectly with the architecture in the church. And I think the result is beautiful. And I had a personal interest because my husband's ashes are there. And then there have been others who have passed away since who are there as well. And a number of people after we built it have signed up to have their ashes there as well.
Please welcome Mary King.
I'm Susan Staskin, and I'm a member of Knesset Israel Synagogue. I'm also on their board and on an ad hoc committee around the pandemic to make decisions in terms of safety for the congregation. I also run the Zoom Minyan for KI on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Minyan is a service that we have at KI, and you need 10 people to be able to say Kaddish, which is a memorial prayer for people who have passed away. And since the pandemic, we haven't been able to do it here. We would hold Minyan downstairs in our little chapel, but we have it on Zoom now. So members have the Zoom ID. I log in as Knesset Israel as the host and let people in, and then we have the service online. I worked for the Department of Children and Families, which used to be called the Department of Social Services. For the first 12 and a half years, I was a social worker in the field, and then after getting my master's, I went and applied for a supervisor's job and was a supervisor for the remainder of the time until I retired. I learned as much from our clients as I did from the people I was working with and the education I had. Especially for so many of our families are at the poverty level, many of them working poor. And we wanted to be able to do things for Christmas. And when I became a supervisor, I got together people in the office. I learned how to use Microsoft's database. I put out an email to everybody. We'd only have one family and our synagogue adopted. But from there, people who belonged to Knesset Israel started telling their friends or co-workers about it. And when I retired, we were adopting 28 families in Berkshire County. It could break your heart, some of the things the parents put down. They wanted toilet paper. They wanted soap. They wanted sheets and blankets for the kids' beds. It's basic necessities of life. So it made a huge difference for these people's lives. And there's so many people that help make it come true. When I come here, it feels like my second home. It's people I know, it's the comfort, and it's also a learning experience because Rabbi Weiner truly is what a rabbi is, which is a teacher. And for our Saturday services, when we're talking about the different parts of the Torah that we're reading, it then leads into a discussion with the congregation about different things. So it becomes a learning experience because education is integral to Jewish life.
Please welcome Susan Stafskin.
What a beautiful and tender time we have shared together. What an amazing group of people we have just spent time with. And we've learned so much about the work of BIO, the work of Berkshire Interfaith Organizing, and all that we share together, all that we do together. And so with that, thank you. Thank you for coming to this virtual Micah. Thank you for sharing in this work. And now go forth to do the work of the prophet Micah, to seek justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Thanks for coming, and go in peace. Amen.
We're at the end, right? Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Happy trails. Happy trails.